Langston Golf Course in Washington, D.C. opened in 1939 as a symbol of African Americans in golf and was named after John Mercer Langston, the first black congressman from Virginia. Langston Golf Course was the first golf course built specifically for African Americans and tells the story of the groups of people that did not compromise, nor did they give up in the early 20th century as they were becoming the trailblazers in breaking down the barrier for golf. On March 23, 2013, Langston Golf Course and one of its founding clubs, the Wake Robin Golf Club, were inducted into the National Black Golf Hall of Fame.
Let's Make Some Noise, a poem written by Valeda Fluellen expressly for the National Black Golf Hall of Fame.
Forbidden fairways, uneven lies, making noise about things we despise, sending the message, just let us play. Words of black golfers paving the way. Make some noise about things unfair until bigotry and prejudice are no longer there. Electrify, inspire, and promote. Echo words these authors wrote. Pete McDaniel, Charlie Sifford, Dr. Michael Johnson, Dr. Calvin Sinnett. Pen tales of golfers we must not forget. The golfers of Langston Golf Course, the ladies of Wake Robin Club made some noise, refused to be snubbed. Pushing doors open, forging the way for the son of Earl Woods to be a champion one day. Now you make some noise by adding your name to those who support the National Black Golf Hall of Fame.
Langston Golf Course is an outgrowth of what happened when the Lincoln Memorial Golf Course was built in 1916. And that had dirt fairways and sand greens, and blacks were allowed to play on that course for a number of years. Then the Royals, the African American Golf Club, joined by members of the Wake Robin Club, petitioned the Secretary of Commerce at that time, who was Harold Ickes, and petitioned him to build a golf course, and out of that came Langston Golf Course, which opened in 1939.
Well, Langston has a deep history. It sort of crossed social and political lines. By that I mean part of the, if you go back to the history of Washington, 1919, there was a tremendous race ride. A lot of people don't know about it. One of our brothers in 1919 was tried for murder during the race ride. Langston is an outgrowth of that era. Probably came into being through the efforts of the Roosevelt administration, particularly Harold Ickes, the Secretary of the Interior, who, while employment was an agency that blacks had an opportunity to work at. Interior, that was their mainstay in terms of the beginning point of blacks, and it extended to the golf course. And
so the golf course itself,
is land donated by Milton S. Cronheim Sr. Milton Cronheim was a good friend of Harold Ickes. He owned all of this land here. So
he donated it to the park.
He donated to the Interior Department, and the deed I can't find it, but I had it. And it states specifically land as recreation for the poor. That's the granting clause of the deed. Land recreation for the poor. I'm gonna have my son to look for that deed. It should be, you know, put up there and show that was the beginning point of Langston.
For recreation for the poor. Second.
Well, Langston has been a good venue in keeping the youth occupied, keeping them off the street. It also was a place that welcomed black golfers without exception to play golf. In other places, you were and you were not welcome and so forth. The other thing is that I remember when they made an offer to Langston to remove the course and rebuild it when they were building a stadium, and Langston refused. They said, no, we remember this location for Langston Golf Course. We wanted to remain that way, and they refused to accept the offer.
Beautiful.
We have been hearing about the history, how Wake Robin and the Royal Golf Club got together and petitioned the Interior Secretary, Harold Eagles, to desegregate the golf clubs in the golf courses in the Washington area. And instead of that, initially, he gave us Langston, a 9-hole golf course that was, you know, on a dump, actually. And so even though it wasn't the best, in the best shape, it was ours. And, you know, black golfers finally had a place to call home. And so, obviously, that because of that connection, we are, you know, just together with that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And Langston has always been like family, I think, in the olden days, especially when you came into the clubhouse, you knew everybody in the clubhouse, everybody talked to each other, and it was just so important, you know, for the black community.
As a 9-hole course, I think it was rather makeshift, the facilities here itself. And there was a school close by, and I think there was a dump close by. And the golf course was plagued by vandalism from students at the school. That is, that's a general sketch that I've been able to glean from reading. And the course complained a lot to the Park Service and the Interior Department. And we have a letter of record from Mr. Ickes, who was the Secretary of the Interior at the time, sympathizing with the conditions here and promising to strengthen park police patrolling and to try to diminish the vandalism. So I think it was that sort of neighborhood. I don't know that the vandalism would be of the kind that you experience today. You know, maybe it was a different sort of vandalism at that time, not maybe necessarily malicious, just all in just good fun. But I imagine the neighborhood did have pockets of poverty, and I think it was a much sparer environment at the time, you know, not as populated as it is now.
As it is now.
Before the end of segregation, African Americans weren't able to golf on all of the public golf courses, and if they had permission, it was with very limited hours on specific days of the week. Since then, everyone has been given the right to golf at whatever courses they choose to do so. But regardless, the city and its visitors still choose to make Langston their home for golf.
Langston possesses a wealth of knowledge for the black golfer. This is where you come to learn how to play golf. This is where you always came to learn how to play golf. And this is where I learned how to play.
Well, Langston is a special kind of place. When you think of the people who played here, when you think of the reason for the course being here in the first place, it harks back to a time when people of my color were not allowed to play at other courses. It's quite fortunate that we established a place like this, and it's grown and it's changed, just like society has. And it's a wonderful thing that we can come here, that kids who have never been to a golf course, parents who have never been to a golf course, get a chance to see what a beautiful place this is. It's sitting in the middle of the city. It is a safe place. It's a comfortable place to be. It has a lot of character. I think not only does the course have character, but there are characters who reside here. And that's one of the interesting things that folks sort of get a kick out of. As soon as you walk through that door, you feel friendly. It's a friendship that goes back decades, and it continues on and on. So it's a wonderful place to be and a wonderful place to teach.
Well, actually, it just highlights the importance of this historical landmark. A lot of youth in this area have grown up down the street from Langston and have no idea what it represents. So it's extremely important.
And I'll finish with you.
I think it reflects pretty much the scope of success and achievement and of pain and disappointment of our people for the better part of the 20th century. I think the whole struggle to get Langston to rise above the common everyday life that you were subject to, go out and enjoy yourself, to be a full participating member in the culture at large. I think Langston represents all of that, and we are reflected in that. That's what I think Langston means.
Langston wouldn't exist today if it wasn't for its pioneers' persistence and dedication through the 1930s. The Wake Robin and Royal Golf Clubs petitioned to the Secretary of Interior, Harold Ickes, to end the segregation of public courses in Washington, D.C. The rallies and meetings resulted in much more. The Secretary approved the construction of the 9-hole course along the river. Although it wasn't pretty, African American golfers had a place to call their own. As the sport grew, Langston golfers needed a bigger facility. In 1955, Langston was expanded into an 18-hole course. The Wake Robin and Royal Golf Clubs still continue to call Langston their home today.
It enabled others to see what they had accomplished. You see, when the Wake Robin came into existence in 1937, in April, 6 to 8 months later, in Chicago, the women in Chicago formed the second group of black women and a social grouping. It was the Chicago Women's Golf Club. So Langston and the Oxen Blades and Wake Robin were a stimulus for many other groups to come into being. It must be remembered, however, that blacks had been playing golf. Let's look at the inventor of the golf tee, who was George Francis Grant. He was born in 1846, and he played golf with some of his friends in Massachusetts around 1880, 1890. So the history is one that goes back many, many years, right after the Civil War.
Well, I've been researching the history of the Wake Robin Golf Club for the past 8 years. And what comes to me out of what happened during those days, which we know we were in the midst of discrimination, prejudice, racism, I feel like God chose those 13 women to do exactly what they did. Because you see, we live in a world where there should be purpose. And their only purpose was not just to play golf. It went beyond that to interest women in the local area to get interested and to play golf. But because of the times and where they had to play, they originally played, I'm told, I've researched it. I've been researching this. I have a whole book up in my head. Played down at the Lincoln Memorial. Some of these ladies could probably tell you more about that because they were there before me. But these were women of integrity. They went about establishing this club on very high standards. Of course, we know that they had to abide by USGA rules. That's how they established what their standards would be the same as the universal golf rules. They stuck to their guns. They had guts to do what seemingly could not be done.
Well, in those days, to see a black girl on a golf course was a novelty. I lived on Irving Street, and I used to catch the bus to ride out to Langston with my little golf bag in my hand, and get on the streetcar, and everybody be looking at me going to play golf. In those days, it was a novelty.
And you played anyway?
I played anyway. I used to dance, and I met this young man at a dance party, and I never heard the word golf before, and he said, "You teach me how to play golf? If you teach me how to dance, I'll teach you how to play golf." And he was Clyde Martin. Wow. Clyde Martin was the one who taught Joe Louis how to play. So that's how I got involved in golf.
As Jimmy just mentioned a moment ago, Langston was very instrumental in Langston becoming Langston. At the time, in the early 1900s, minorities and African Americans only played golf at a small parcel of land, which is now the Lincoln Memorial. It was a 9-hole golf course, and the greens was compacted sand, and that's where they had to play on. And it was quite a bit of interest in the African American community for a better golf course, and there was an interest to play golf. And as a result, our predecessors, Mr. Adams, Mr. Shippen, and others formed, they had a meeting one evening. And out of that meeting came the Royal Golf Course, the Royal Golf Club. And from that meeting, over a number of years, the Royal Golf Club grew. The interest in the community grew for golf. And later, the Wake Robins was formed as the wives from the Royal Golf Club. And together, we combined with the Wake Robins to approach the Department of Interior.
Many big events have come to Langston Golf Course. One of the most notable is the tournament that was brought to Langston by the Oxen Blades Golf Club called the Capital City Golf Tournament. This brought local people and spectators from all over the country, as some of its winners included Ron Terry, Lee Elder, Charlie Sifford, and Calvin Peete.
In 1958, it was 6 of us at a golf outing. And after the golf outing, we stopped at the hotel and had lunch, or brunch, or whatever you call it. And we decided that we were going to organize a golf club. And it was 6 of us. And majority of us lived in Parkland. That was over in the southeast. And we called a meeting. And at that first meeting, we had 17 to show up. And with that 17, we organized, actually put everything into work, and organized officers, things of that nature, that we needed to get started. And from that 17, I'd say in a year's time, I guess we had over 50. And the club kept increasing until we said, well, I said 2 years later we had our quota. Now, and at one time we had almost 100. That's why we had a cutoff.
Well, it grew into the fact that this is where you wanted to be. You know, if you were a young fella who wanted to caddy and you wanted to earn a few bucks, the doctors and the lawyers and all the high-profile people who could, you know, pay you to caddy and that sort of thing, they were here. And this is where you had to come, because this is where all of the elite people in the black community was right here. And then the Ox and Blades, the tournament that they brought here, then became the pillar where it brought all of the people together, not just locally here, but it brought people from out of state, and it just grew and lasted all the way up into the 2000s.
And when I came here, I came to Langston with a fraternity brother of mine, and I saw all these guys playing golf. And then I heard about the Capital City Open. I said, what is the Capital City Open? And when I attended it, I saw all these black professional golfers who were really proficient. And Joe Louis and presidents and so forth were playing in the tournament. So I said, well, this is a significant sport for our community. And I think that when we celebrate this course historically and this history, that that'll cement the future for the young people.
Most challenging of the 3 golf courses, and as a result, we've had in the years, I started playing golf 47 years ago as a kid here at Langston, and there was a huge tournaments used to be held here, the Capital City Open for one, and that would bring golfers from all over the Eastern Seaboard to play that golf tournament. And as a young man, that was exciting to see. It's one of the reasons I'm sitting here today as the president of the Royals, because I was exposed to those kind of things. And I could go on and on about, you know, the camaraderie here when you walk up on the plaza, men that have sat there for decades and decades and decades, greeting one another, and it's not only a place to play golf, it was quite a social gathering for our seniors that are no longer playing.
Well, we started at Ox and Run. Ox and Run had just opened, see, majority of us lived right there in the Parkland area, and Ox and Blades, and Ox and Run was just built. Mm-hmm. So we selected the name of the club. We named the club the Ox and Blades because we was going to make Ox and Run our home course.
I see.
But in 2 years, I'd say within the 2 years, we had our first, we decided we was going to have a tournament. And that was an all-amateur tournament. And we had it at Langston here. And that was a successful event. So the following year, which was 60 or 61, is when we had our first amateur tournament right here at Langston. And from then on, we had a second one, and the third one we decided we was going to bring in and make it a pro-am because we had a lot of good golfers, right here, and they didn't have anything to do as far as golf, you know. So we had a pro-am, and that turned out to be a successful event.
The community at Langston is one like no other. The friendships that are formed on the golf course and on the clubhouse porch are invaluable. These relationships have been fostered by many golf clubs and organizations, some dating back as far as the 1930s.
My name is Charles Scott. I'm a member of the Postal Golf Club. I joined the golf club when I was working at the post office. I've been with them, I would say, approximately 30, 35 years. During that time, we have had lots of experience visiting other clubs and playing a lot of golf. Langston has been in the forefront because at the time, this was the only golf course that we could really play golf the way we wanted to play. And Langston has been very good to us, and we hope we've been good for them.
I'm Dr. John Saunders, and I'm a member of the Pro Duffer Golf Club. Our club organized in 1946 as a group of college students who wanted to play with other people from other areas. And they got together with a group from Philadelphia and started a tradition of having golf matches with them. And as he stated, that Langston was one of the few golf courses that was available to the club. And this is what they usually organize around. Then in 1989, the Pro Duffers became a national club.
Hi, I'm Leighton Carter. I'm the president of the Football Golf Club.
I'm Adam Shaw, and I'm the treasurer of the Football Golf Club. Well, I go back a ways, 50 years as a matter of fact, when we started up in Maryland. And we had so many fellows from Prince George's County and D.C., we decided to incorporate here in Washington, D.C. So we've been here actually since '63, and that comes to 50 years. We play here, and as a matter of fact, there was a group of seven members who created what was called an Inter-Club Federation of Golfers that played a significant role in Langston. Back at the time when it was about to close, we actually had a couple of people that ran the concession at the request of Mr. Brock, because he was having problems, and he said that he was going to close the course unless he could get someone to run the concession. And we ran it for about 3 years.
My name is James Jenkins. Currently I'm the president of Tee to Green Golf Club.
My name is James Dean. I am a member of Tee to Green Golf Club.
I am George Reeves, the president and sergeant of arms, Tee to Green Golf Club.
I'm Steve Golden, lefty. I'm the oldest active member of Tee to Green Golf Club.
Tee to Green Golf Club started back in 1969. We're fortunate to have one of the original founders of the club here today. That's Mr. George Reeves to my right. I think a group of about 7 guys got together, and because of the conditions of our society back in '69, decided it may be worthwhile to organize a club to promote the enjoyment of playing golf, and at the same time we tried to build a program that would give back to the community and help promote golf among the youngsters, and give certain events to just help promote golf among the African American community. And from those humble beginnings, we've prospered and become a growing entity now. We've had a relationship with Langston since 1969. We've been through all the trials and tribulations that Langston has gone through during that time, and we'd like to think that we've had a little influence in helping to keep Langston thriving and going.
I'm Ron McPherson. I'm assistant tournament director at Nairobi Golf Club.
Charles Fonville, director, Nairobi Golf Club. Result of a lot of us playing a lot of golf. Here at Langston, we're basically playing on Saturday and Sunday here. And just to play golf, nothing else. And every Saturday somewhere in this area or in the metropolitan area every Saturday. And that's basically how it started. And we always play at Langston every Sunday. Every Sunday.
My name is Stanley Tapscott, and I'm golf director for the Monday Morning Golf Club.
My name is John Milligan, Golf Club. Well, this is about my third or fourth time around as president, and I really enjoy that I've been selected to represent the group. But we have been working together. The Golf Club was actually formed in 1974. It was 12 guys who were retired and they all played golf at Langston. And they decided, well, a good thing to do is to get a club together and be together. And they liked one another. And the game fit right in, so they said, well, that's what we're going to do. And they got together and started playing, and they decided the best day to play is on Monday. And that is why we're named Monday Morning Golf Club.
My name is Phyllis Stevenson Jenkins. I am the current president of Langston Ladies Golf Association.
I'm Pat Williams, and I'm the past treasurer of the Langston Ladies Golf Association.
I'm Irene Gaskins, and I'm the current secretary and webmaster for the Langston Golf Association.
I'm Roberta Turner. I'm a chartered member of the Langston Ladies Golf Association.
The Langston Ladies organization is a social organization that promotes fellowship. Fellowship in such a way that we do not want to have a whole lot of structure. We want to have fun. We want to promote golf for women. And in doing that, we visit Langston Golf Course many times where we plan our outings. Additionally, Langston ladies go around the Washington metropolitan area, as I stated, and promote the fellowship of golf by just visiting multiple courses. Now that we have the opportunity to do so, unlike 1930s where we didn't have a choice. Today we have a choice, so we're exercising that right by going to a variety of different golf courses. But we don't forget where we came from, which is here.
Hi, I'm Joy Wolf, the President Director of Sisters of Swing Golf Association.
And I'm Holly Tartt-Walker, the Vice President.
Sisters of Swing is an organization who advocates for new golfers, allowing opportunity for women to come and learn the game of golf, taking them from tee to green, offering them continuously golf skills environment. So that was the primary purpose of our program, as well as become a community base for the community, in which we have a junior golf program as well. So we're taking them from tee to green and hoping that they're going to learn to use golf as a vehicle in their life skill.
Basically, it's just a great opportunity for our youth and for women in general.
How long have you been?
Okay, my name is Hattie Dorman. I'm a current member of the GJS Golf Club and a past president.
I'm Cecile Vallon. I am the current president of the GJS Golf Club. This is my second term as president, and I have also served as the secretary and tournament director.
My name is Yvonne Jones. I am a member. I'm one of the original members of the GJS Club, and when it started, we were floggettes. And I'm working now on the hospitality committee.
Affiliated with Langston for many years, as long as I've been in the club. We've considered it our home course. We've used it for our playing with the Cure. What is it?
Rally for the Cure.
Rally for the Cure for a number of years, at least 5. Additionally, Connie Stevens is our founder, and we planted a tree at Langston in her memory. Additionally, we used Langston as our home course when we needed to use a professional handicapper. We had to use a golf course, and it was Langston Golf Course. So we have a long affiliation with Langston Golf Course.
Cool. We plan our season to include rounds of golf at Langston. We start the season with an icebreaker, which is a scramble, and we usually end our season with our memorial tournament, which we play in honor of members who have passed.
Connection, Mason's Army and the program in Langston. It's a really significant and important connection. The Mason played here as a professional. Ernie and Joe Wilson, who is a great supporter of the program. Langston urchins, they grew up here, and what they learned from the adults that taught them to play golf is they owed it back. So some 30 years later or so, they are still working and helping other children who had the experience that they had. So that's a connection.
The connection is we're sharing our expertise, our coaching knowledge, and all of what the First Tee of Washington, D.C. has to offer to the youth of the District of Columbia and the surrounding area. We're growing the game primarily with introducing our youth to the game of golf, but especially with character education through our 9 core values, 9 healthy habits, and all those things that make a good kid good in life and on the course.
Well, we got together with 7 guys. It was in right in Maryland, Bryce C. Road, and we got together in the development. And that, as a result of that meeting, we decided we wanted to just play golf. And one of the places we wanted to play golf at was here in Langston. In fact, we got started here with tournaments and whatnot. Langston, at the present time, was represented as our home course. And that, as a result of that, we played here regularly, and to this day, we still do. To this day, we still Langston as one of the courses that we always enjoy playing, and we recognize that every year we play here. So basically, you know, I remember Langston also has the porch out here in front of the building here called the porch. A lot of guys would meet here and they would talk the talk and dare you to get on the golf board with them. Whatever. It just was an enjoyable situation. I think I have with Langston here. Yeah.
Langston Ladies was organized June 5th, 1984. And at that time, it was just a 9-hole course. So a group of us used to meet out here just to play golf. And at that time, there wasn't very much activity at Langston Golf Course. So, and they were threatening to take the course away. But then it was decided we could get enough activity that the course would be retained, and they would expand it. At that time, it was just a 9-hole course. And so we were able to recruit other ladies who really wanted to learn to play golf. And we started growing in numbers, and eventually the back 9 was open. And we
really
participated in planting flowers and just beautify the course. And it was a way to really socialize and stimulate the game of golf among black women.
Focused on developing junior golf for many years. Because of this, they have 3 junior golf programs that coach kids in not only just the game of golf, but also in the development of their young lives.
I think it's the largest collection of kids I've ever seen in golf, and particularly African American. To have as many youth programs that we've had here. We have 3 now that are mainstay: First Tee, the Langston Junior Boys and Girls Golf Club, and Mason's Army. To see the successes of those programs over the years and how some of the kids have branched out, going to school. A couple I know in the PGM program. A lot of them, most of them have degrees. They now have the golf as entertainment and business for them, and it's equally as rich as the 10 groups that are part of Langston.
Well, they have a junior golf program here, which we've been running for years, and like the rest of these clubs, we all support that. As we send kids to college and help a few of them turn professional. It's a good organization, a good group, and everybody's into it all together.
And we have donated trophies, balls, caps, and other paraphernalia to the junior golf program, which is probably the kind of involvement that we've had with the junior golf, is just to make these things available to them.
Well, I can speak very expertly on the youth because my husband does have a youth program, the Langston Boys and Girls Golf Club, and I do help him a little bit with that. We don't work well together too much, but I do help him a little on special occasions. And I know especially at Christmas time, he invites the youngsters that are in college. Most of them have gotten a scholarship from his organization, and they come back every year. 20, 30 of them and he, has them stand up and just tell a little bit about themselves and what the organization meant to them, and they are just so appreciative of the time and effort the volunteers, because he has quite a few volunteers, have put into them to get them to where they are now, and some of them are getting have double majors, some are working on their master's degree, as well as playing golf. So it's had a tremendous impact. And I know there's Mason's Army and First Tee here, and also, they work a lot with the children, so it has great impact on the youth.
The whole idea and my vision was to try to help our young people, give them a helping hand up, not a helping hand out. We proceeded to mature in our endeavor of expanding our scope of what we're trying to do for the Langston Junior boys and girls beyond the golf realm. We also start to include the educational component, which is so important. And out of that education component, there arose the idea of doing a scholarship golf tournament, which we started in 1994. And basically we had something to the number of 10 to almost 15 recipients who were 12th graders who were pursuing a higher education. At that time, we actually gave out a check to these kids from the money that we raised. So it has been a very fruitful venture and a very positive role that we were doing for our young people. Sometimes we get into the thought pattern of when you say you give out scholarship or grants, that means that you allow certain things to happen within your organization. When we say we give out the scholarship, we mean that we give our checks and actually financial support to these kids in terms of making them responsible. The motto here at the Langston Junior Boys and Girls Golf Program is respect of self and others. We try to instill that in each and every one of our junior kids who enter the program. Age range from 6 years old to 18 years of age, boys and girls.
Before Mason's Army, we had individuals designated to teach junior golfers. I had Mr. Payne, who was designated to teach us, but Mason's Army being the first organization, organization is important because now you can contribute even if you don't know anything about golf. It allows the people in the community to make a contribution to golf. Mason started in 1989, and I came aboard quickly after that. We had the same ideas and commitment that we knew that with professional lessons and guides that a black kid can really learn how to play this game. And we've had various amounts of success. The offspring to developing golfers, we've developed a lot of great people. And we've had several kids go through college. We don't even offer scholarships. But at an early age, we kind of put that idea in their mind. We tell them to expect to go at the ages of 7 and 8. Sometimes we're the first ones who they hear that from. And it's a matter of fact thing that you're going to college.
Having the course being inducted gives it even more credentials, where the kids, when we go to speak to the kids this spring and say, listen, this is a pretty historic place now. It's in the Hall of Fame. When they hear those words, it's going to be pretty significant for them. And just having the first tee being a part of it is very special. Like you said, it's an international brand now, and it's all over the place, and over 300 chapters, and you know, it's very special that we can call this place home, and with the sense of history and the people that are here, and being able to have a great facility to practice at. The driving range is great. The short game area is a great location to learn the game. So overall, it's just a great experience. So.
Langston's unique story and location have brought many notable golfers to the course. Some visitors include heavyweight champion Joe Louis, baseball player Maury Wills, golfer Ted Rhodes, President Gerald Ford, singer Billy Eckstein, and tennis legend Althea Gibson.
The master of ceremonies for that occasion was Edgar Brown. Edgar Brown was the husband of Paris Brown. And Paris Brown was an enormously vital force, not only in black women's golf, but in organized black golf for a number of years. So her husband had been a tennis champion. Not only was he a tennis champion, but after he no longer played tennis actively, he took up golf, and he joined the government, and he had a truck that he fitted with amplifying equipment, and he would travel up and down the streets of Washington advocating for fair treatment and a cessation of segregation. So that was Edgar Brown. And Edgar Brown was the master of ceremonies on the day that Langston opened in 1939. So he brought with him the vitality, the vigor, and the social commitment, as well as a sense of achievement, because these folks had labored in the vineyard for so many years to get the golf course built. And when the day arrived for the opening, it was a sense of enormous satisfaction. And it was one of those things that was greeted in all of the black newspapers with headline banners saying, Langston Golf Course is open.
Well, I've seen some. I didn't get to see Joe Louis, but certainly I saw Charlie Sifford, Butch Rhodes, and some of the other golfers. We used to come over and watch them play when they had the Pro-Am tournaments, and we'd follow them around the golf course.
With Joe Louis, it's on the third hole. It's a tree named Joe Louis. He hit the ball so far, and the second shot, he would hit that tree every time. All day he was a par 5. They don't know why he did it, but he would do this.
So you played with Joe Louis?
I played with Joe Louis. I played with, but I didn't play with Bill Spiller, but I was behind him when he played. Bill Spiller.
I remember some years ago, Joe Louis was quite an avid golfer, and he played here. And my brother and I were adjacent to him on number 6 and number 7 hole. And that was very inspiring. Some others, I don't remember who they were, but they had a lot of outstanding golfers to come and play at Langston.
I remember reading an article. Bob Hope played, Althea Gibson, Gerald Ford, and I remember an article in the Washington Post that stated that almost every professional golf player had played at Langston except Tiger Woods.
Of course, we knew the elders, Rose and her husband. Some of us went to North Carolina to play once in a tournament that they had in North Carolina. It's quite some time ago.
I used to play with Lee Elder here a lot when he came through.
and they had the Negro circuit that was coming through here often. And I think Calvin Pete and the Browns, and they would come, and the Capital City Open was held here a lot.
Yeah, I have Joe Lewis anecdote. The first time I saw him play here, I saw this big crowd of people going to number 10. At that time, you could go out and observe the matches, you know, the big gamblers and the guys who would dress nicely and stuff. I said, where's everybody going? Who's playing? They said, Joe Lewis. Everybody's going out to see Joe Lewis play. So I ran down the hill and ran across the bridge. There he was, Joe Lewis. He was taller than I thought he was and bigger, and he had a quart of milk in his hand. Every time he hit a shot, he sat down a quart of milk. So after we played 2 or 3 holes and we said, were joking about the milk, one of the guys said, don't ask me why he's drinking milk, you go ask him. And so I said, Joe, why are you drinking that milk? He said, well, I don't drink what those other guys drink. And I'll never forget that.
I haven't started playing golf then, but I've heard the stories, like the tree out there in fairway number 3, what they call the Joe Lewis tree. And every time I understand he plays that hole, that's where his tee shot goes.
The Langston Golf Course has a great history with my family. My father, Joe Lewis, played the golf course, loved the golf course, and there's this one tree out there that they call the Joe Lewis tree because I think he found it over and over again whenever he played. When people talk to me about my father and when he played Langston, it was all about the crowds that would come out to see the Brown Bomber playing Langston. He loved the game of golf, and the game of golf made a great deal of difference in his life, and he enjoyed it. He loved the camaraderie, he loved the friendships that he had. Washington, D.C., and particularly Langston, was a very special place for my dad. And the recognition that Langston has been receiving recently has been terrific. What stories, what opportunities, what great history Langston brings to our country, and particularly African Americans all across Washington, D.C.
Absolutely. Sure. Good. Absolutely. Sure.
Yes, sir.
They're good. There was a guy named Charlie Owens, I think was his name. I thought he was going to be out there.
Beautiful.
Yeah. He's a strong player.
Pure strike of the ball. Very good.
But they showed their stuff here.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Right here at the good old Langston.
And that was the showcase that was always the Capital City, one of those venues, tournaments I should say, that they were able to do that. I mean, a lot of the Baltimore Colts, they would always come over to win the tournament. I was quite young, but my biggest moment at Langston, I was about 12 or 13 years old, and Muhammad Ali and his entourage came out. We saw them pull up. We were on the practice green, myself and some other juniors, and out of all the kids and individuals there, he walked over to me and grabbed my putter. He said, you know, I've never touched a golf club in my life. And he just sort of took a stroke with my putter, and of course, being a kid at the time, that was huge for me. And that was in the mid to late 60s.
The Lee Elder era, he had tournaments and he had people like Bob Hope. What's the other black guy that came? I can't remember the names. I really can't. But Charlie Sifford and Jink Stewart, Baltimore, and Bishop from Philadelphia, Bill Bishop. That's all I can think of.
And I've seen Lee Elder, I've seen Bob Hope, I've seen, in fact, I remember one incident when Muhammad Ali was riding up Benning Road in a car, and he saw us on the putting green. He got out of the car, came up on the putting green, and was laughing at us, making fun of her sisters up there hitting a white ball. The guy said, let's see you hit this white ball and knock it in the cup. Muhammad Ali got up, grabbed the putter, knocked the ball in the cup, and got in his car and went away. I mean, I witnessed that myself, you know. And Calvin Pete, I mean, I've just seen a lot of the pros come out here and play. And And of course, I've been playing it since then. And
very, very good for him. And if I'm allowed, I'll tell you that one of the more exciting things that happened to me once when I brought my grandsons was that Langston had a workshop with Jim Thorpe and Jim Dent. And I just thought it was just so awesome to come up here and let them talk to us about how to be better golfers and showing us the trick shots we personally wish we had, because I wasn't playing golf at the time, but I was trying to get my grandsons to see how nice a thing it was to incorporate in their lives. Now, they aren't Tiger Woods yet, but that's what I did.
Dr. Calvin Sinnett was presented with the painting titled Dawn of Greatness in November 2009 by the Professional Golfers Association of America in recognition of his efforts to obtain posthumous PGA membership for renowned African-American golfer William Spiller Sr. In 1948, Spiller and Theodore Rhodes applied for PGA membership, but the organization failed to act on their applications. 50 years later, Dr. Sinnett appealed to the PGA to grant posthumous membership to Spiller. Slightly more than a decade passed before the PGA Board of Directors took action to correct the injustice. In 2009, the organization bestowed posthumous membership not only to Spiller, but also to Ted Rose and John Shipper, the first American-born golf professional. At the same time, honorary PGA membership was bestowed on former world heavyweight boxing champion and avid golfer Joe Louis. To further commemorate its 2009 decision, the PGA commissioned the African-American painter Kevin Williams to produce an appropriate artistic rendition of the four honorees. Dawn of Greatness pays tribute to the four African Americans whose contributions to the game of golf were overlooked for far too long. Dr. Calvin Sinnett has kindly donated this painting to be on display in the Langston Golf Course clubhouse. It's pretty safe to say that the community agrees that Langston Golf Course is deserving of this special honor. The National Black Golf Hall of Fame inducted Langston for its dedication to African American and junior golf from 1939 through 2013, and it seems as though its dedication will carry on for a long time.
I think it's very important that Langston be inducted into the Hall of Fame where there is recognition and there is putting out there that there is something good at an African American area or golf course that is very productive in a positive manner. With the notoriety of this and with the publicity and promotional, it's so important that we get the word out there. Yes, there's something good here at Langston. Yes, there's something positive. And yes, there's much cooperation, and thanks to, I would say, the National Park Service and golf course specialists, that we're able to have our kids come out and be productive kids, productive citizens through their efforts of allowing not only Langston Junior Boys and Girls, the other groups here, Masons, Armies, and First Tee, and then the other programs that come. It's so very important. And with that induction to the Hall of Fame, it can spread and grow.
Beautiful. I don't see why they would not do it. I mean, if this was the only place that blacks had to come and enjoy the game of golf, I wouldn't see why they keep them from doing that. I mean, they had no other place to play. There weren't places that black people could go and play. Mm-hmm. So this was it. So certainly it deserves that.
And when you talk about golf, this is black history. No questions about it.
Well, yes, because at one time, Langston was the only place that black could play in Washington, D.C. Since integration, we could go everywhere, but we still come back to the capstone. And this is what we call Langston, the capstone of Negro golf.
I believe that going to East Potomac Park is the destination, whereas there either have been told in the past that this is not the place to be for whatever myth or reason they have. And what I instill in a lot of parents is, you don't know what you're missing. this place has not only the sense of history, it's convenient to the Beltway, it's convenient to I-295, it's convenient to the downtown metropolitan area. It is not only free parking, which is excellent. You have the metro nearby, you have places of interest nearby, but you also have a sense of history here. And I let folks know in my registering them what you're coming on or where you are right now. You don't really know until you've delved into the history what Langston is really all about. Until you get here, until you register your kids, until they get a chance to see what is here physically, will you be able to, and be here for a while, will you be able to really appreciate where you are?
The history already and what is already can help enrich the value of what golf can bring for the environment, what golf can bring for the community, and definitely what golf can bring for the youth is still the opportunity to get our young people out here, and I'm so glad we have this facility for that.
Considering the history of the golf course and where we came from, what we've been through, and where we are now, I think we should be in the Hall of Fame.
What we went through to get Langston, as hard as we worked to get Langston, I think it is very important that there will always be a Langston. That's a hallmark right there.
Well, as I looked at this honor that's being paid to Langston and the Wake Robins at the same time, to me that's no coincidence, since it was the strength of the protests that the Wake Robins and the Royal Golf Club came together to do. It's just the right thing, as Liz says, for them to be honored together at the same time.
Absolutely is right. I think Langston's actually earned it. Just from the struggles that we started with of having the golf course in itself, as Liz had mentioned. You know, this started as a swamp. We had to go through, federal measures to try to get it licensed and for it to operate as a golf course. That in itself was a struggle. But to understand that and see what's transcended since that, is only something to be proud of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so how could you not be?
Any finishing thoughts, Paul?
Yes, I think people don't understand how important I think Langston is, especially to senior African American men. I mean, it gives them a place to come, a connection, and I am so sure that Langston has extended the lives of a lot of older men here just by having something to do every day, coming in and connecting with their friends. It's very important.
And women too. Because, 20 years from now, I'll be still coming out here for a cup of coffee and not being able to play.
But women have other things to do. Men don't have things to do, okay?
I certainly think it's deserving. I also think it's important to recognize the role that Langston has played in the African American community for golf. And so I think it's quite appropriate for them to be present in the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm. I agree with what Patty has said. Langston has had such an important role in the development of professional black golf players. And it has been a nurturing environment for youth who are interested in learning the game. And they are definitely ones that should be here in the National Black Golf Hall of Fame. And it's already a part of the National Historical Register, so that is a good reason that it should be introduced, inducted.
It's an honor. It's an incredible, distinct honor to have this resource inducted into the National Black Golf Hall of Fame. I was talking to a colleague of mine earlier, and back during the period of slavery and during civil rights, quilts were created that tell the story of hardships, that tell the story of a family or a person. And I see this induction as almost like that patch linking other African American golf courses together, telling this rich African American history and story. So it is yet defining everything that we've come to today, and makes that connection, stitches that American history together. So it is truly an honor.
Langston being inducted is something that's deserving. It's very much deserving. I was just reading an article today on the attempts after integration of golf for the black golfers in the Washington, D.C. area to go to the East Potomac Golf Course and play, and how 40 golfers that day set out to go and play. It turned into a rain. They had a rainstorm to come up, so play was suspended temporarily. Everyone who left the golf course attempted to go inside the clubhouse facility at Potomac, and the white golfers there told them, no, you can't come in here. All of the 40 black golfers, no, you can't come in here. Some chose to leave, some stayed. Arguments ensued. The leader of the group, the African American groups, was actually struck in the face by one of the white golfers. The ruckus kind of like died down, but the golfers, some of the golfers who did remain, a couple of them went back out and they finished playing. And that's a testament to their perseverance. I think Langston, being in existence as long as it has been, maintaining such a tradition is a sign of perseverance. Perseverance is something that we as a culture have gone through for a lot of years. And to me, Langston is a symbol of that perseverance. And it's a very humbling thing for me to be a part of this. And particularly to go down and accept a Hall of Fame induction for Langston. Again, it's a humbling experience. Proud to do it.
The Hall of Fame is a fabulous way to put a spotlight on Langston's rich history in African American golf.
As president of the company, are you concerned at all about the relevance of this place nowadays, now that African Americans can go golf pretty much wherever they want to?
Well, Langston is at a very important crossroads. I mean, it's been surviving, frankly, with in any metropolitan area where there's a lot of golf courses to be offered. Golfers have lots of options in terms of where they can spend their time enjoying the game of golf. Langston has been challenged with that, like many other municipal public golf facilities. What's never going to leave Langston, and what is at the center of the energy at Langston, is that there are caring community members and golfers who have connections to the facility, and they are integral to the future of Langston thriving. In fact, on a personal observation, with the announcement of the Hall of Fame induction, we got our heads together and said, let's have a local event so that the community can participate. Well, I can't tell you how exciting that has become in terms of the energy that it's, basically surfaced with all the groups coming together, from representatives of the Wake Robin Golf Club, the Royal Golf Club, the youth programs, the First Tee, the Masons Army, the Langston Junior Boys and Girls and Golf Club, the Oxen Blades. I mean, we have a large collection of individuals who have stepped forward to celebrate the induction of Langston, and to me it definitely puts a highlight on the promise for Langston that we're reestablishing connections with all these organizations and individuals who've cared so much about Langston. They're part of the fabric of Langston, and together we are helping to ensure we celebrate this moment, but also that we're focused on its future so that we can make sure it's here for the next generation of golfers and a thriving facility.